Hello, everybody, and happy Thursday, or should I say happy lunar eclipse. My name is Leanne Kalal, and I am a member of the numerologist team. And today I am here with the lovely and wonderful, extremely talented, knowledgeable,
Oh,
and full of wisdom, Kelli Fox from Astrologer
oh,
Kelli.
wow,
So
what an intro that was. Thank
you
you.
rolled off of my tongue. I speak the truth. So thank you so much for being here with me today and with everyone who's tuning in, Kelli. I know that we have a lot to talk about. And it continues. You and I have been talking weekly, and I'm learning so much about astrology and all of the trends that are going on to impact our day-to-day life, as well as our ongoing, life and current reality that's unfolding. For everyone who's tuning in, hello, hello, and let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know your star sun sign, and make sure that you watch this entire thing because Kelli is going to be, whoopsies, Kelli is going to be sharing is that like a full moon thing? I don't know. Or is that just me? Anyways, Kelli is going to be sharing specific information for your sun sign and how you can navigate this lunar eclipse that we are experiencing right now. And I also just want to point out as well in the comments in this video, Kelli has created an incredible free yearly forecast. So definitely watch this video. Make sure you sign up and you take advantage of this free forecast. Kelli's forecasts are the absolute best. So I want to say that right now before we get down the rabbit hole of everything that is going on right now. Okay, and Kelli, let's get into it because I know that there's just a ton of information. And I also know that you're doing more readings today at 2 p.m. So that's another advantage. Get on Kelli's newsletter because then you're going to find out when she does behind the scenes readings for people in her community.
Oh, you know what, Leanne, let me just say about today at 2. I'm going to be picking random people and reading their charts. Usually I like to be a little misorganized and, have them all ready in my software and whatever. But I didn't include the field in Zoom for people to put their birth info. So I'm going to be picking everybody randomly for chart readings. So that's, astrology.tv/newsletters. Get in there because I might give you a reading randomly. So, yes. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. I can see people from the Netherlands, Boston, New Zealand, Romania. Hello, South Africa. You guys are awesome. London. I love reading that. Yeah, let us know where you are. Scorpio, Gemini. So we're all being affected by this lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse, let me just start, I'll take a step back and I'll explain what that is. And then I'm going to go through how that affects every sign of the zodiac. And so a lunar eclipse is a supercharged full moon. And so basically it puts the earth in the middle of the sun and the moon. So you've got these two big things battling it out. Of course, the sun is a billion times bigger than the moon, but that aside, from our viewpoint here on Earth, the moon is our satellite, and so we're in the middle of this battle. But here's the other kicker: we've got Mars, planet of anger and assertion. In ancient mythology, Mars was the god of war. And that's WAR. So Mars was the god of war. So that's forming a square or a 90-degree angle to both the sun and the moon. And in astrology, that's known as a major configuration that we call a T-square. So that's just a bit of mumbo jumbo there, but it's like this is supercharged. Not only is Mars involved with a T-square to this full moon lunar eclipse, but we've got Neptune as well. Neptune's sort of hanging around with Mars. Both are in Pisces, and Neptune is the planet of confusion. So we've got anger on one hand, confusion on the other, coming together with this super potent lunar eclipse. Now, this is the first eclipse of the season. It's not the first eclipse of 2020, it's the first eclipse of the season. And so what that means is we're moving in for the next month all the way through, let's say, mid-July, there's going to be, everything's going to be even more supercharged and intense, if you can even believe that. So eclipses are known in astrology as turning points or new beginnings. But because tomorrow's lunar eclipse is in Sagittarius, if you think about the full moon, and I think I said this last time, full moons are like a giant light in the sky. If you think about the dark night sky, and then you've got this bright full moon, that's what we can think about, metaphorically, is it's like turning a light on. Something comes to the light. And so this full moon lunar eclipse is in Sagittarius. So this is where the fun begins. And, Sagittarius is one of those fun signs, but because it's being squared by Mars, the god of anger, war, assertion, impatience, frustration. So that they're all the key words here, confusion. And so with this lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, it's very much about truth seeking. So Sagittarius is one of the signs of the zodiac that seeks the truth. But the thing is, with Sagittarius, it won't stop until it gets to the truth. A little bit like Scorpio, but Sagittarius is a lot more open and larger than life about seeking the truth. They're more overt, whereas Scorpio is a bit more covert about it. So this lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is very much about foreign people, foreign places. It's also about philosophical values and what's important to us. What is our truth? What is it that we need the light to be shone on? That's what we're dealing with. And because it's an eclipse, it's affecting the collective. Yes, it's affecting everybody personally and all the zodiac signs personally, but it's really affecting the collective. And when you get these really big points in astrology, like the eclipses, the solstice, the equinox, those types of things affect the collective. So that's why I'm sort of talking in broader terms, is because we're all being affected by these energies, and some of us, of course, a lot more than others. So if you are a mutable sign, or you have any planets in mutable signs, and that's Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces, then this influence might be affecting you a little bit more so.
So, I'm season so far so good. I think I'm crossing my fingers.
And the other thing is that the ruling planet of this lunar eclipse is Jupiter, and Jupiter is the planet of hope and optimism. But on the flip side, and I'm using a lot more of the shadow keywords here because of the square from Mars and Neptune. So the ruling planet is Jupiter, and Jupiter is the planet of excess. Anything it touches, it magnifies, or it increases, or it amplifies. So this is what we need to be careful about, is that that we're not taking things, we're not getting out of control, or we're not getting out of hand, or our opinion is the only one that matters. And that's going to be key here, because, with a lunar eclipse, there's always the other side of it. And the other side of it is the sun in Gemini and the moon in Sagittarius. That's the basic what this is about. And Gemini is all about communication. It's all about speech and making sure that not only we're just like, as they say, flapping our lips. It's more about the other people are hearing what we're saying. And I'm just talking on a personal level. There's nothing collective at the moment, but it's more like, that we're not just like yabbering for the sake of it. It's like the communication is really getting through. Just know, if anybody tuned into last week's show, we're coming into the shadow of Mercury retrograde. So what that means is confusion. And also, we've got love planet Venus, which is very close to the sun. We just had a conjunction a couple of days ago, but love planet Venus is retrograde. So it's all about, let's look at what worked in the past and let's bring it into the current situation. Whatever that may be, we're reviewing from the past. And it's always really important anyway, but it's especially important now. Now, this lunar eclipse, as I said, it's affecting the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces, or anybody that has planets in those signs, even the rising or ascendant in a mutable sign will be very affected. Actually, especially if you do have a mutable sign on an angle or as your rising sign, this is going to be really key. You know, this is another pivotal month of 2020, as if 2020 wasn't enough. You know, like I'd been saying for weeks, you know, January, June, and December are really big times of 2020. So we're sort of like right in the thick of it at the moment, and we're just sort of coming into it as well. So this is a time of patience, because, you know, the influence of this Sagittarius moon, it can be impatient. And if you're a fire sign, if you're an Aries, Leo, or Sag, or planets in those signs, I'm sort of talking to you as well, because it's not negative, it just is. And that's the thing that astrology can teach us. It's not good or bad, because a lot of people say, is that good or is that bad? It just is. You know, there's shadows to everything, or there's the yin and the yang. There's, you know, there's the undertones of things that are not always apparent. So this lunar eclipse is actually also being supported, even though I just said Mercury, we're in the shadow period of the retrograde. There's a really nice Mercury Uranus sextile. So that's called Mercury sextile Uranus. That's also happening tomorrow. And that's a little bit unrelated to the full moon, but it actually supports communication. And here's the key to that. If we can come up with out of the box thinking, or something, even though we're reviewing things from the past, we need to also come up with out of the box thinking, or some sort of innovation or some sort of breakthrough can actually happen at this time that hasn't happened before. And with, you know, that Mercury Uranus connection, it's all about technology. So, you know, we've got the power of the internet now and social media. So, you know, let's use it for the good. So that's what this energy is all about with the lunar eclipse. It's about not being too dogmatic in our own approaches, and knowing that there are other opinions out there that we might not necessarily agree with, but it doesn't mean that we're completely right either, because this energy of this Sagittarius lunar eclipse can be sometimes quite righteous. It can be sometimes fanatical. It can sometimes be, it's sort of like, not just aggressive with that square from Mars, but sometimes very much our opinion is the only opinion, and that's all that matters. And that's not going to get us anywhere. But the good news though is with this Sagittarius influence, it's a mutable sign, and the mutable signs are very adaptable. They're very flexible, very much bending where need be. So it's not about my way is the only opinion and that's what goes. There is room for change and there is room for adaptability. We just have to be super careful about not ramming our opinions down other people's throats, I think is probably one way to say it, and being too self-righteous.
Wow, that's a lot of information. I'm definitely going to re-listen. I'm so happy that you're sharing all of this, and a couple of things that I wrote down that were really standing out. I love how you said people often ask, is this good or is this bad? Mm-hmm. And all of the information that you share, and especially the information that you're sharing with us today, it's not good, it's not bad, it's information. And it's up to us to use this information in a positive way to transform our lives or take action. And so patience stands out, outside of the box thinking, and not being self-righteous or not pushing your beliefs on someone else. And I think it's always very important for us to remember these things, and especially right now. So I'm excited to hear what's up for what we're expecting for all of the signs now that you've given us an overview of what this is.
Absolutely. And I don't know if I've mentioned the key word here is freedom.
Oh,
so this
I love that.
And I just took a glance at one of the comments. Somebody said they had a Sagittarius moon. So this lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is the freedom seeker. It's the freedom-seeking moon. And just more keywords around Sag before I dive into the zodiac signs and how each sign is being affected by this lunar eclipse. It's the Sagittarius is the explorer, the adventurer, the philosopher, the freedom seeker, the teacher, the preacher, the traveler. It's all about expanding the mind, expanding our views. So that's why, even though, it can be very dogmatic, but it's also very flexible. And I can't emphasize that enough, how crucial that is, that there is room to grow and there is room to bend and there is space for compromise. And this is, in our personal relationships or what's going out there or whatever else. But it also, it'll teach us with this influence about self-restraint. And that sounds sort of weird and not so great, but actually with this energy of, the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, it's very much about, it can be recklessness in some ways. So there will be the energy of this eclipse season will teach us, about, and this sounds cliche, but we do have a new normal. So it's like, we're all learning at this time, and this is definitely not a time to be out there being reckless, no matter what it is, whatever the situation is. So that's what this moon is teaching us.
I love that.
On that note, I will jump into the signs, and I'll start with Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. Now, Aries is a fellow fire sign. So the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sag. And so, the fire signs, normally it's a good energy, because in any signs that are in the same element is always a really good start, particularly for compatibility. And so the thing here with Aries, though, because Aries' ruling planet is Mars, and Mars is forming this challenging square to the lunar eclipse. So Aries needs to sort of take one baby step at a time and not sort of like, try and sedate that burning desire for freedom. It's important to think things through first. Now, Aries does not have a reputation for being a patient sign. So this is what's going to be taught at this time with this lunar eclipse, is patience and perseverance, not getting bored, after a few minutes of something. It's sort of like to see something through to the end. Now, that's going to come up again September, October, November when Mars turns retrograde for Aries. But I will be talking more about that in future shows. But it's like, definitely at this time for Aries with this lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, it's very much about not feeling too impatient to expand your horizons and explore new territory. It's important that you take into consideration the connection, like, as I said, this is a collective influence with the eclipses. So it's important that you really consider everybody else before taking any sort of steps forward. Try not to make any rash decisions, really, is the key word here for Aries. Now, for Taurus, what's happening for Taurus at this time is that there might be some sort of controlling situation that you're involved with, and so it might bring up some trauma or drama. Of course, there's always drama with eclipses, even with regular old full moons. They just seem sort of dull and boring now compared to this lunar eclipse and coming into eclipse season. So it's like so Taurus, if you've been involved with anything that might have been secret or underhanded, be prepared for the light to shine, because just remember the golden rule of the full moon, especially the lunar eclipse, it's like a giant flashlight. It shines where things might not have been shone before. So if you're a Taurus, it's like, it's important now that you own your stuff, regardless of what, with the square from Mars and Neptune, that Neptune component is about confusion, secrets, things that are sort of, we don't fully know, but we get a sense of it. So that's really the message there for Taurus, is to sort of own your stuff and be prepared for, expect the unexpected in some sort of ways. Now, with Gemini, for you, it's like, it's about, for you, it's because it's in the opposite sign of yours, the involvement of love planet Venus, The square from Mars. Venus and Mars are the relationship planets after all. So Gemini is sort of pulled into this lunar eclipse energy because the sun is in Gemini and, of course, the moon in Sagittarius, the opposite sign. This is all about relationships. It's all about your significant other, if you're single, your best friend, those that you have the closest relationship with, family members, whoever that might be for Gemini. This is going to highlight all the things that you hadn't wanted to deal with before. And especially if you're in a romantic relationship, it will bring things up. Everybody's going through a really tense, tough time right now. And so for Gemini, it's like, this is not the time to sweep things under the carpet. This is a time to really deal with stuff, especially with love planet Venus in your sign retrograde. It's like, deal with the stuff from the past, and then you can move forward with a lot less baggage. If you are a Cancer, so for you, Cancer, at this time, it's very much about taking care of your routines, taking care of you. Cancer is the caretaker of the zodiac. Cancer is the zodiac sign that looks after everybody else. So what's calling upon you at this time with this lunar eclipse is to take care of you. You can't take care of others until you take care of yourself. And that's very much what's going on for Cancer, or anybody that has planets in Cancer. Cancer is the mother of the zodiac. So Cancer very much thinks about everyone else first before themselves. So this is going to be really, really important to really take that action step with the support of Mars, because it's in a fellow water sign, to take that action step around you, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, whatever it is, you first. Now, Leo, for you, Leo, this is an interesting time because this Sagittarius full moon lunar eclipse is about taking advantage of some opportunities that are coming your way, but not in a reckless, spontaneous way. Now, Leo is a fire sign, as is Aries and Sagittarius. So there's really good energy here for the fire signs, regardless of the hard squares from Mars and Neptune. But it's very much about Leo's been presented opportunities, and it's about thinking things through before taking action. So in other words, taking some not calculated risks, that even sounds a bit too daring, but embracing these opportunities and thinking through the long term where they may lead you, being very strategic at this time, being very philosophical and looking at the forest instead of the trees. So sometimes, in our day-to-day life, it's like everything's here and I can't see, which way to go. This is a time to take a bit of a breather. It's not a time to take action, even though you are a fire sign. This is a fire energy. It's all about taking action, but it might be action in a different way. And that's what this eclipse season is going to call upon Leo to really think things through. Now, Virgo, for you, this is about home and family. And I know it's been for everyone for quite a while, but especially now for Virgo under this lunar eclipse energy. This is about something will be highlighted or something will be noted with regards to home and family. There might be some situations with family members that you need to find balance and compromise with. So it's important. And also, Virgo is a mutable sign, as is this lunar eclipse energy. And so it's very much about finding that compromise, finding that balance with family members, and also making sure that your home environment is where you want it to be, is what you need from it. So there really will be some attention around that. Now I'm halfway through, Leanne. I'm going to take a sip of my tea after all that.
I'm like, she can talk way longer than I can without taking a sip of water. I've continued to take a ton of notes, and I know that I plan on sharing this with my friends. Like, I have friends in all the signs that we've just gone through. So if you're listening and you know that you have friends or family who would benefit from this information, share this video, comment, add them into the comments, and like, let's spread the word, because this is important information right now.
So Libra, and I just looked at the time, and I know I've got my other event soon. So Libra, and I could stand here for hours talking about this. So Libra, be very careful about what you say at this time. That's going to be really important because there might be something that you've said that might come back, especially with, you know, in the shadow of this Mercury retrograde. So it's going to be very important. Now, what the best use of this energy for Libra is some sort of education or increasing your skills in some way will be really important. And other people might be able to help you with that. So it's a time to sort of reach out to others, but in a way that only sort of Libra can do sometimes, because Libra is the people person of the zodiac. So it's important to tap into your network, because opportunities might come your way to increase your skills and think about, you know, the path forward. I know it's hard to do at this time, but it's sort of like it's a time to not for manifestation as such, but very much about, you know, putting out there what you really want, what you've been working towards. Now, for Scorpio, this is a really incredible time for you. It's a time to tap into your incredible psychic abilities. You know, this is a time where, you know, Scorpio is an extremely perceptive sign, probably the most perceptive sign. You know, Scorpio really never misses anything. Doesn't mean that they're consciously communicating that, but this might be a time to do that, because Scorpio is the other truth seeker of the zodiac. And so this is a time for Scorpio where the truth may come out. And this is, again, not in a bad way. It's just this is something where Scorpio needs to trust their own perceptions. Now, Sagittarius, this is your annual full moon. But again, it's not just an annual regular old full moon. Your full moon happens to be a lunar eclipse in an incredibly intense year. So for you, Sagittarius, this is all about letting things go that are no longer working for you. This is all, and that includes your own beliefs and ideals, because, you know, on the flip side, the energy of Sagittarius can be dogmatic sometimes, can be righteous, self-righteous, can think that their opinion is the only one in the room. So it's important for you, Sagittarius, at this time to incorporate and listen to other people's ideals, especially, and one thing I'm not sure I mentioned on this event is that Sagittarius is also the sign of foreign people and places, or maybe I did. So it's important that people from other cultures or countries or faraway places might have some information for you that you can actually use in your life. So that's going to be super important to be aware of that and to be listening really well. Now, Capricorn, for you, this lunar eclipse is all about money and resources. It's all about, you know, what you think is valuable to you. So that's going to be something that really comes about at this time. And it's like, this is a time for letting go of things that are no longer working. It is anyway for everyone, but especially for Capricorn when it comes to money and possessions. Now, if you're an Aquarius, for you, this is a time of manifestation, and it's like working out what you really want, you know, really thinking through what it is that you want for your future, you know, where this is sort of, you know, what's going on out there in the world is having us all take a step back and looking at life from a different point of view is what is calling to many of us. And for you, Aquarius, very much so. Now, Aquarius is the visionary of the zodiac. Aquarius is the genius. It's the visionary. Aquarius is the brilliant thinker. So it's like sometimes light years ahead of everyone else, and maybe sometimes too far ahead of their own time. But for Aquarius, it's very much about, again, networking and connecting, as I said, with fellow air sign Libra. It's like connecting with your network and opportunities coming to you and thinking outside the box. You know, that's what we're all doing at this time. We're thinking about our life and things that we do in a very different way. So it's like, this is a time to make the most of that, because one of your ruling planets is Saturn, and Saturn and Pluto are the two planets ruling 2020. And so your ancient or co-ruler Saturn is very much about calling you to step up and to think in terms of structure and long term. And finally, Pisces, sweet Pisces. This is the time for Pisces to think about your career. With the lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse, that's highlighting your career path and your career aspirations and your professional life. So this is all about the things that are no longer working in your career. Let them go. And if it means getting a new job, so be it. If it means looking to what you've always wanted to do, make that happen. That's what this first eclipse of this eclipse season is calling upon for Pisces. Now, Pisces is the compassionate carer of the zodiac. And so, you know, if there's some sort of calling about taking care of other people or looking after others in a certain way, then, you know, make that happen. This is a time, you know, this is, as I said, the new normal. This is a time when we're making new routines. The world is a different place. This is a time for all of us to, you know, step up and, you know, and after we deal with the stuff that we have to deal with, but it's like, that's what these influences are calling us to do, is to look at life from a different point of view, and where can we make a difference with ourselves and with other people, particularly for Pisces, and make that a career. That's it from me, Leanne.
Wow, that was incredible. And I know that you have another call at 2 p.m. So you're going to be doing your readings. I've noticed in the comment that there's some people who will be joining you at 2 p.m. So I think I will really start this hashtag Get More Kelli. So you go and you can sign up on a newsletter. I was sharing that earlier today, astrology.tv/newsletters. And Kelli is also providing a free yearly forecast for you. Her forecasts are the absolute best. I've linked to it in the comments. It is here on the video. Again, thank you everyone for joining us today. Make sure you share this video, tag your friends and family and any of your loved ones, and happy full moon, happy lunar eclipse. And we're entering lunar eclipse season. So here we go.
Bye.
Bye.